We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime. And instead, we have several officers that are riding around protecting.
Panic within Tiffany Henyard's inner circle, as the footage reportedly contains evidence that contradicts her past public statements, reinforcing suspicions that the allegations against her may hold truth.
Questioning the finances, because that's been a real big concern of mine as a board member. We've been wondering how the money is being.
A federal investigation into the Dalton Village Hall has revealed leaked footage and documents that have shocked the community, prompting many of Henyard's supporters to retract their public endorsements. Allegedly, these disclosures have not only unveiled the true scope of her actions, but have also implicated her in serious allegations, including money laundering, misappropriation of taxpayer funds, and questionable personal conduct.
And is about the feds, specifically the FBI, coming into Village Hall behind me this afternoon. It's not clear how long they were inside, but we do know they came with some warrants, with some court papers to serve some subpoenas. That gives you some video. It shows the officers, 4 federal agents, came to the Dalton Village Hall and what the FBI calls court-authorized activity. The agents were told, we are told, went right to the basement looking for records. The FBI spokesperson will only say it's, quote, an investigative activity. Now, Chopper 2 was over the scene this afternoon.
This revelation has shaken her support base, leading former loyalists to distance themselves and erase any public endorsements of Henyard from their social media profiles.
Local investigation is quickly unraveling into a significant federal case with broad implications. It's a story of power and scrutiny, and obviously the quest for transparency. If you check out some of Tiffany Henyard's biggest supporters on Facebook, they have deleted their profiles and deleted their posts talking about Henyard. I'm talking to you, T.O. Hardiman. Maybe you finally realize that she's in trouble and finally realize that this is not just a joke. This is not just an attack on a black woman, a single black woman in power, but a corrupt person that has effed up the entire town of Dalton and effed up the township. Or you just don't want to get in trouble with the feds. Henyard, who is knee deep in controversies of her own, is under scrutiny on how she handles or mishandles her campaign funds. Where is the money going? Tiffany's campaign finance reports are more mysterious than any detective show or novel. There's hardly a trace of payments for the political consulting she allegedly receives from Jerry Genova. And when it comes to other campaign-related expenses, they're virtually non-existent in her financial disclosures. And what is baffling about Tiffany Henyard, most of her declared expenses are for food. Yeah, food. While there should be finance reports covering campaign flyers, event organization, and other significant expenses, all we see is receipts for meals, food. There's also a small expenditure at a cell phone store.
Amid the growing allegations against Henyard, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has reportedly taken an interest in investigating the claims. Renowned for her firm stance against corruption, Lightfoot has started scrutinizing Henyard's financial activities and the governance of Dalton. This heightened attention from a prominent political figure further underscores the gravity of the accusations.
We don't have a complete picture of credit cards, but we wanted to share with you what we do know so far. We are aware that over this time period from 2021 to the present, the village used 6 different credit cards at various points from January 2021 through May of this year. 4 American Express cards that appear to have been used by various folks within the police department. The statements for these accounts were addressed to Ernest Mobley, Robert Collins, and Louis Wade. Are these legitimate purchases used in the credit? What we've also found in the credit cards, I know that there's been a lot of interest in travel, and we are highlighting here on this slide some of the travel that is reflected in the village credit cards. Birmingham, Alabama, and Montgomery, Alabama, March of 2023 with 5 no travelers. Washington, D.C., in 2023 with 4 no travelers. Las Vegas, Nevada, with 8 no travelers. Jackson, Mississippi, in June of 2023, with 3 known travelers. Austin, Texas, in July of 2023, 3 known travelers. Portland, Oregon, in July of 2023, with 4 travelers.
Lightfoot's investigation is reportedly focused on Henyard's handling of public funds, specifically allegations that personal expenses were masked as official business costs. This inquiry has reignited scrutiny over how Henyard's administration managed taxpayer money and whether the misuse was a systemic issue or a series of isolated incidents.
Nobody has to come to a board meeting and tell a lie about anything. It's common sense. It's simple multiplication. When you have people emailing you every day about their invoices and payments. This goes as far back as June 9, 2022. It's sad. It's sickening. People came last month when we got our tax bills in an uproar about the tax. Can y'all imagine an initiative to even start straightening this out, how our tax bills grew? That $6.8 million did never come. And it was spent before deposited. It's simple math. $6 million, $6.1 million in checks, sitting somewhere. $40,000 at Amazon. What a slap in the face to everybody that resides in 60419 zip code. The meeting, I'm so grateful for this information that you provide, because it takes somebody else to come in to show that we've been trying to stop this. And we've been doing minimal damage. So could you have imagined if we just sat up there and approved everything that was going on? Because she's gonna ride off with her BMW and we're still stuck.
Another key controversy surrounding Mayor Henyard involves allegations that she fired employees who refused to partake in or endorse her questionable financial practices. Reports indicate that Henyard dismissed staff members who either challenged her agenda or raised concerns about the legality of her actions. These firings have been described as retaliatory, targeting individuals who prioritized ethical integrity over unwavering loyalty.
4 days ago, she fired the chief of police because he was investigating all of those credit card receipts and all those claims of her funneling taxpayer dollars into her privately owned cancer awareness charity, which you cannot do. And in one of those investigations that the chief of police was investigating, it stated here in this tweet, and shout out to this person for tweeting this, they said Mayor Tiffany Henyard is one of the most corrupt ever. She actually hired a child, overpays her police officers. She does. She overpays her police officers to be her security, which what do you need that much security for? You're a mayor of a town with about 20,000 people. One of the officers was paid $13,000 in 2 weeks for 300 hours of overtime. Because nobody believes that. Nobody believes that anybody worked 300 hours of overtime. So this has to be investigated because it looks like these numbers were being padded. So the chief of police, or the ex-chief of police, had his attorney, and they're standing behind them that there were allegations of corruption and he was investigating them. Now I'm going to do a little bit more digging because I think there's a lot more to know about this Tiffany Henyard story because anybody who shows up to a city town hall meeting dressed like Nino Brown is definitely doing something that they shouldn't be doing.
Critics have pointed to Henyard's allegedly inflated salary as further evidence of her misuse of public resources. Reports suggest that her earnings significantly surpass those of mayors in comparable municipalities, sparking questions about the justification for such compensation. Combined with reports of lavish spending, her salary has become a key issue, fueling intense scrutiny and criticism.
Not only does she serve as the mayor of this village, she's also Thornton Township supervisor. Now, she is being accused of historic historic misuse of taxpayer funds to the sum of, first of all, using the local police as her own personal security detail, costing up to $1 million. She's also being accused of misusing taxpayer money to pay for lavish trips for herself and collecting a combined salary with the supervisor position and her mayor position of $287,000. This is a small town in Illinois, 20,000 people, the highest salary in our U.S. government, requesting an investigation by the FBI. And some of these allegations, or accusations, I should say, are so serious that even some local businesses are saying that their licenses and things that they need are not getting renewed after they made decisions to cut off ongoing financial donations to her campaign. So it's a pretty big deal, and this is one of the things that she was questioned on. She has this foundation, a cancer research foundation, that people are also wanting an investigation into, as she has not disclosed how she is used. Thing is, it's not just about misusing taxpayer funds. That's bad enough on the surface, but again, this is a small town of 20,000 people. All of these accusations that she's racking up are causing this town to go into unmanageable debt, and the people are crying out for help. Here are a few of these people. In fact, I believe they're looking at right now a $2 million deficit, which in a big city or a big town might not be that big of a deal, but when you are the village of Dalton in the middle of Illinois, it's a much bigger deal.
Another significant concern is Henyard's alleged misuse of village security for personal purposes. Reports suggest that she redirected security personnel intended for official duties to serve her private needs. This alleged exploitation of public resources has drawn sharp criticism, with many condemning it as a blatant abuse of power.
She did this at a board meeting. Not only that, now I'm assuming that taxpayer funds were used to pay for all of this. So she dressed up as him. Her ensemble included a stuffed toy dog at her side, just as Brown had a real one in the movie. Also, she brought in a DJ. During the meeting, Henyard had the DJ punctuate her political points with musical cues, including Rihanna's hit single, "Be Better Have My Money," where she demanded trustees approve a bill for a village ice rink.
Residents have voiced outrage over what they see as a clear misallocation of resources meant to protect and serve the community. Demands for stricter oversight and accountability have grown, with some calling for Henyard to face legal consequences for her actions.
Super City Girl Mayor Tiffany Henyard, I have been following this story for weeks. She should have been in jail yesterday, and it wouldn't even be her first time there. She has embezzled hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. She has defrauded her taxpayers, and she has the city in a $7 million deficit. And that's the tip of the iceberg. Her charity has been shut down by the state government after it was found out she spent tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on nothing. Like when she spent 10 grand on a weekend bicycle trip to the capital of Illinois, Springfield, in support of a bill that wasn't even in session. And the $17,000 that she spent on merch. She says that she doesn't have a foundation. She's not involved in it. Like, bestie, your name's on it. There's the small fact that her personal security detail works not just double overtime, but triple overtime, often clocking as much as 200 hours in a single 2-week pay period, which is usually 80. And one guy clocked 303 hours. Should we talk about the Vegas thing? She flew first class to Vegas on the town's card, racked up over $8,000 in hotel costs with zero business justification or even an explanation about what they were doing there. There's also the lawsuit and FBI investigation into the SA that occurred there to her personal assistant, who she then fired immediately after reporting it. But wait, there's more. Shuts down businesses that do not financially support her campaigns, and she hires child predators. But it's Illinois, so of course a corrupt politician isn't in jail. There is so much more. I might actually go to the town meeting next week myself.
The most serious allegation against Tiffany Henyard is her suspected involvement in money laundering. Reports indicate that she began these illicit activities in 2023, managing to evade detection until 2024. when a federal investigation uncovered evidence exposing her actions.
Now, I must say, Tiffany Henyard's 2023 was amazing, but her 2024 has been nothing short of electric. As we know, Tiffany loves putting herself on some posters. If there's a poster in Dalton, Illinois, where she's the mayor, she's on it. That included Tiffany Henyard's Happy Martin Luther King Day poster, where she put herself on the poster very big and then put MLK in the bottom. In this little box, these two boxes. I guess you would say that was Martin Luther King's dream. Here we can see she wished everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Of course, she was on the photo. On the night of Valentine's Day, she held a party, which was, of course, a party not just for the town, but more specifically for herself and her friends at the town's ice skating rink. Here she is at it. This ice rink was really never supposed to be built because the town's in $1 million of debt. But Tiffany Henyard said, no, we're building it. And she then put out a video where she bragged about building it despite being told no.
Beyond financial misconduct, Henyard has been accused of initiating unnecessary village projects to shift attention away from her alleged corruption. One notable example is the construction of a skating area, which village trustees reportedly opposed, but Henyard pushed forward as a diversion tactic. Critics argue that such projects offer little to no real benefit to the community and serve primarily as a means to deflect from her misconduct.
It's your mayor, Tiffany A. Henyard, the people's mayor. We here in the village of Dalton and we about to get our skate on. Remember, when all 5 of them trustees said no, look what God did.
Things are looking a little murky for the future of Tiffany as the town has been ordered to release spending records after mayor and her allies accused of lavish purchases. As you can see, the town's already $7 million in debt. She actually started her mayorship at $3.5 million in debt, and she has put it all the way up to 7. Those are some good numbers, Tiffany. At this Valentine's Day party on the skating rink, Tiffany had multiple security guards around her at all times as if she was the president, as you can see here. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany has also fallen under criticism for shutting down local businesses that don't contribute to her campaign. And as you can see here, she is dressed as the gangster Nino Brown from the movie New Jack City. Nino was a gangster in the movie. The New York Post actually picked up all of this absolutely insane behavior that she has really started to really kick up this year and put in their newspaper, Chicago Burbs is a dictator.
Henyard's emphasis on these projects is widely perceived as an effort to win public favor while masking her alleged financial misconduct. The skating area, seen by many as an unnecessary expense, has come to symbolize what critics call a mismanaged administration, one that prioritizes image over fiscal responsibility.
A real-life Parks and Rec situation going on in a small village outside of Chicago thanks to this mayor, Tiffany Henyard. And with George Santos leaving the house, this is the new funniest, most corrupt politician in the United States of America. I learned about Tiffany today when I read an article about the ordinance she's putting in that states if she loses her re-election to be mayor, the mayor's salary will be decreased from $225,000 to $25,000. When I read that, I realized I had to learn everything about this woman. And as it turns out, the 90% pay cut doesn't even crack the top 10 of the most corrupt things that this woman has done in a short year that she's been the mayor of Dalton, Illinois. If you're on a highway near Dalton, Illinois, you will see billboards of Tiffany Henyard. These are all billboards that are paid for by taxpayers, and they advertise things such as senior services and free fresh produce. But Tiffany always puts her face and name in huge letters opposed to the actual thing it's advertising in order to get her name out.
Tell Tiffany Henyard's tenure as mayor of Dalton has been marred by allegations of corruption, mismanagement, and personal misconduct. From the alleged misappropriation of taxpayer funds to retaliatory firings and unnecessary public projects, the accusations paint a troubling picture of her administration.
Also recorded a music video with taxpayer dollars. It's not even her own song, it's just her singing over it. This is a legit comedy show I can't wait for the documentary about this. Look at her with the cops. And the crazy thing is, all of the things I've mentioned, it's only the tip of the iceberg with her. I could do a 10-part series on Tiffany. She is the most iconic politician running right now. She just does what she wants, and then she just keeps it moving. She goes, I'm gonna keep spending taxpayer dollars. I'm gonna have to do a 10-part series on this woman because she may be the GOAT.
Y'all remember Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, Illinois? First, she was accused of using taxpayer money to fund her lavish lifestyle. Then when the city council unanimously voted for an investigation, she vetoed it. Then last month, a member of her staff accused her of covering up an essay that happened on one of their business trips. Then this week, after a city council meeting showed overwhelmingly that the people want her to step down and resign, the board of trustees has appointed the former Chicago mayor, Lori Lightfoot, to lead the investigations into the essay.
As federal investigations advance and new evidence emerges, pressure on Henyard intensifies, with increasing demands for her to be held accountable for her actions.
Not from the Chicago area, you may have no idea who she is and ask, why is this a big deal? Because Lori Lightfoot was an awful mayor, corrupt mayor. She lied about everything she wanted to do in office, and after only one term in office, she was voted out in the primaries. Oh, and she didn't lose by just a little in the primary. She came in third. She was forced out of the job in disgrace. Literally last month, a book was written about how terrible she was as a mayor. So why would the trustees hire somebody who is terrible at a job? Well, that's because one of the trustees is the person accused of essaying the staff member.
Henyard's situation stands as a cautionary tale on the necessity of transparency, accountability, and integrity in public office. The residents of Dalton, once hopeful for meaningful change, now grapple with the challenge of restoring trust in their local government.
Tiffany Henyard is the most controversial mayor in all of America. So this mayor named Tiffany Henyard is the mayor of a place called Dalton, Illinois. And essentially every single resident in Dalton wants Tiffany out of office. This is mainly because Tiffany's very controversial use of taxpayer money. For starters, Tiffany has a full security detail that goes everywhere with her in the town. This security detail is estimated to be about $250K a year. In addition to security, Tiffany also uses taxpayer funds to do things like buying billboards with her face and name on it. She also puts her name all over government vehicles and buildings throughout the town. And she even has her own 2024 calendar. And of course, she put her own birthday in the calendar. Now, in addition to all of this, Tiffany has also made it extremely hard for anyone to run against her. Currently, she makes around $225K a year. However, if someone were to run against her and win, they would not be getting anywhere close to what Tiffany's making. This is because Tiffany is proposing a 90% cut in her salary, but only if someone who is not her is elected. This would drop the pay from $225K to just $25K. Yet even with that massive pay cut, people still want to run against Tiffany just so they can get her out.
And that wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more updates. See you next time.